Welcome to The Deep Dive. This is a Prime AI podcast brought to you by the folks at Silicon and Silk.
Great to be here. You know, it's kind of wild. Over 70% of online traffic for fashion retailers. It's coming from people on their phones now.
Yeah, it's a huge number.
Right. So you think about all that scrolling, all that browsing. And the big question is, well, why aren't online stores seeing this massive boom in actual sales to match? What's the disconnect there?
That's really the core puzzle we're going to tackle today. This deep dive is all about mobile fashion shopping, why those big traffic numbers don't automatically mean checkout success.
Okay.
And importantly, what kinds of innovative solutions are popping up to, bridge that gap. We're really focusing on sizing challenges and that whole costly issue of returns.
And to really get a good handle on this, we've been looking closely at insights from Prime AI. Now, for anyone who hasn't heard of them, Prime AI, they specialize in size recommendation tech specifically for e-commerce.
Right.
And what's great is their perspective isn't just theory. It's based on real data, actual applications of their tech with some major fashion players.
Exactly. It's grounded in what's actually happening out there.
Yeah.
So think of this as your fast track to understanding a really key part of how we buy clothes online now in this mobile first era. We'll be digging into the frustrations, the cutting edge solutions, and why this matters if you're interested in e-commerce, tech, or just how shopping is evolving.
So let's go back to that first point, the mobile paradox. All these potential customers browsing on phones, but the conversion rates, the actual buying aren't keeping up. It's like a packed high street, but the shops are quiet. What's going on?
Well, what's really interesting is that mobile shopping, it isn't just the desktop experience on a smaller screen. It's fundamentally different.
How so?
Think about when and where people browse fashion on their phones. It's often those in-between moments.
Yeah, the commute, waiting for coffee.
Exactly. Or maybe multitasking at home. That context, it's crucial. It really shapes how people interact.
Right. You're not usually sitting down for a dedicated shopping session like you might on a laptop. You're juggling things, maybe distracted. And honestly, just trying to figure out those tiny, complicated size charts on a phone screen, it's almost impossible sometimes. You're pinching and zooming.
It's a pain. That limited screen space, maybe slower loading if your signal isn't great, and just the pure hassle of zooming in on complex guides. Those are real friction points.
Yeah.
Mobile shoppers generally want quick, confident decisions.
Yeah.
If it feels hard or uncertain, they're much more likely to just, bounce, go do something else.
And that feeling, that nagging doubt about, will this actually fit me? That must have bigger consequences than just losing that one sale, right?
Well, absolutely. When you connect the dots, that uncertainty about sizing, it kicks off a whole chain reaction of problems.
Okay.
One of the most obvious is returns. When shoppers aren't sure, they often do what's called bracketing.
Yes. The buy 3, return 2 strategy. I've definitely done that.
We all have, probably. It feels necessary sometimes. But for the retailer, it's a huge logistical challenge.
I can imagine.
Think about the costs involved. You've got shipping out, processing and returns coming back, checking and restocking items, inventory tied up.
Right. And manpower.
Manpower, exactly.
Yeah.
Plus, it hits profit margins hard. And it's not great for sustainability either, with all the extra shipping and potentially wasted items.
And it affects us as shoppers too, doesn't it? Like if I have a bad experience, get the wrong size, hassle with returns, I might think twice before buying from them again.
That's a critical point.
Yeah.
Sizing problems on mobile, where you often have less info and make quicker decisions, they directly lead to more returns. And more returns can erode trust in the brand, lead to fewer repeat buys. It really impacts loyalty.
Okay, so the challenge is clear. High mobile traffic, but size uncertainty is a major blocker, causing returns, hitting profits, damaging loyalty. So what's the fix? This is where Prime AI comes in.
Exactly. This is where smart sizing technology offers a real solution, especially for mobile. Prime AI's whole approach is about giving personalized size recommendations instantly, right there on the product page itself.
Instantly, so no faffing about.
No measuring tapes, no separate apps needed. That's the key. It's designed to be seamless.
That sounds way better than, wrestling with the tape measure and trying to match it to some generic chart that might not even be accurate for that specific item. That zero spare time idea really resonates for mobile browsing.
Precisely. People want quick, reliable answers on the go. And the tech behind it is pretty clever. It's not just a static chart.
Right.
Prime AI uses predictive AI.
Yeah.
Basically, it uses machine learning to spot patterns in loads of data, past purchases, return reasons, the product's actual features, customer feedback, All of it.
So it's constantly learning.
Constantly learning and improving its accuracy for each product, each fit, and even each shopper over time.
Wow. So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach at all. It's dynamic. It could figure out that, say, one brand's jumpers run large or a specific style is meant to be baggy.
Absolutely. It can even learn your personal preference, like if you tend to prefer a tighter or looser fit generally and factor that in. That level of personalization is just, well, miles ahead of the standard size chart.
Okay, sounds great in theory, but what about the real world? Are brands using this actually seeing results? Does it work?
Oh, the data's pretty compelling. Take Arena, the swimwear brand. Fit is obviously critical there.
Totally.
They saw a 26% jump in conversions and, crucially, almost a 30% drop in returns when people ordered the size Prime AI recommended. That's huge for swimwear.
Wow, nearly 30% fewer returns. That's significant. What about other clothing, like everyday stuff?
Yes, similar trends elsewhere. Hugo Boss, for instance, reported return rates dropping by up to 44% on some lines where customers use the size finder.
44%?
Yep. For a premium brand like that, reducing friction and ensuring satisfaction first time, that's incredibly valuable.
Definitely boosts the brand image, too. And for a bigger, maybe more mainstream retailer.
Mango, big European retailer, lots of different stuff. They saw great results, too. 29% fewer returns in menswear, 32% fewer in kids' clothing.
Even kids' clothes. Wow.
Yeah, and get this, some specific collections saw return reductions as high as 62%. It shows that tech works across different categories within a big operation.
62. Okay, that's impressive. And I think you mentioned it wasn't just single brands.
That's right. There was a case study with a multi-brand retailer that carried 14 different labels, and they saw consistently lower return rates across the board when shoppers use Prime AI.
Okay.
That really shows it can adapt even with all the different sizing standards between brands. And it's important to stress, these aren't just, hopeful projections. These are real results from actual customer purchases.
It really hammers home that this isn't just a gimmick. It's directly impacting the bottom line and the customer experience. And you mentioned speed and seamlessness being key for mobile.
Exactly. That's core to the design philosophy. It works in the background. You don't have to stop browsing, measure yourself, go to another page. The recommendation just appears naturally on the product page. It keeps the buying journey smooth. Way better than older, clunkier, rule-based systems that just interrupt everything.
So it meets the shopper right where they are, phone in hand. Probably short on time, needing a quick, confident choice. It really feels like solving the size puzzle is the next big frontier for online fashion, especially on mobile.
That's exactly the takeaway, I think. The industry's done amazing things, digitizing storefronts, payments, logistics.
Yeah.
But fit, that's remained a major hurdle, especially in mobile.
Yeah.
For today's mobile shopper, needing to decide quickly, often, in under 30 seconds, removing that size uncertainty is just crucial.
Okay, so wrapping this up then. The core message seems to be optimizing mobile shopping, specifically tackling sizing with smart tech like this, is vital for fashion retailers. It's about boosting conversions, slashing returns, and building real customer loyalty in this mobile-first world.
Perfectly put. It really addresses multiple pain points simultaneously. And maybe it leaves us with a thought for you, the listener, to mull over. As AI keeps evolving at this incredible pace, what other parts of shopping that we think of as uniquely human might get transformed next? How else might tech create even more seamless, more personalized experiences down the line?
That's a great question to think about. What's next after Fit?